Well, we're tracking that breaking news this morning. Multiple people are shot in downtown Wichita.
It happened shortly after 12:30 this morning outside the Enigma Club and Lounge in Old Town. Cake's Annette Lawless is live downtown with what we are learning. And Annette, I understand you've moved locations and we've got a better view of what happened.
Absolutely, Pilar. We're trying to get a better vantage point just to show exactly what is taking place this morning. Officers blocking off this area of a very active crime scene. We can see that yellow crime scene tape right in front of us. And then just behind all of that, investigators are inside of that building. And if you look at the windows and doors in the front of that club, they are broken as a result of everything that had taken place this morning. But it's been so busy throughout the morning. Police tell us everything of what they know, and they believe it all started with a fight of some sort at this club, which one man then got kicked out. And they believe that he later walked back and started shooting into the club from the street, hitting 8 people. We do know that one man has died as a result of his injuries. 2 others are in the hospital with life-threatening injuries. And again, police, they're still looking for the shooter, and they expect to be out at the scene for several hours.
We're still gathering video, processing the scene down here, and interviewing multiple witnesses that were in and around the club when this happened.
We've seen those officers walking in and out of the building, taking pictures as well on the outside as they're trying to piece together everything as to what happened. Again, they're still searching for the suspect in this case, and they would appreciate any tips from folks. You can call police at 911, of course, and then you can also call Crime Stoppers if you want to leave a tip anonymously. That number to reach them is 316-267-2111. Reporting live in Wichita, Annette Lawless, Cake News on your side.
All right, thanks, Annette. We'll check back in with you in a little bit. Stay with Cake News for the latest information on this still developing situation on air and online at cake.com as soon as we get it. An update now on breaking news we've been following all morning. Multiple people shot, 1 dead in downtown Wichita. It happened shortly after 12:30 this morning outside the Enigma Club and Lounge in Old Town. Police just a few moments ago identifying the victim as 34-year-old Preston Spencer. Cake's Annette Lawless is live downtown with the latest on what we were learning. Annette?
Pilar, we're learning that 5 additional women at least were hurt as a result of everything that had transpired at this nightclub. We're told those women, though, are expected to be okay. However, we are waiting for an update from police to see if that suspected shooter has been arrested. I can tell you, though, we saw a man out here taking some measurements outside of these doors that were broken through as a result of that shooting from early this morning. He was taking those measurements so everything could get boarded up and close up this area where we see plenty of debris from everything that transpired. Again, police rushing out here after 12:30, as Pilar mentioned, as a result of what shooting had happened over here at this nightclub. We're taking a look at footage even from overnight from people who had shared some video and pictures online, and this place was packed inside. But seeing all of the debris and everything that had taken place and the aftermath of everything, we imagine that it was probably quite a chaotic scene. Investigators spending many hours out here this morning. Again, they're hoping that maybe someone can give them some information to help with this case. If you have details that can help, call 911 or Crime Stoppers at this number, 316-267-2111. We expect a briefing with police, which we will take live at 11 o'clock this morning, and we'll have an update throughout our midday show as well. Reporting live in Wichita, Annette Lawless, Cake News on your side.
All right, thanks, Annette. And stay with Cake News for the latest information on the shooting as it becomes available both on air and online at cake.com.
Now live from the Cake Studios, this is Cake News on your side at 5.
Tonight,
Got at least 5 victims now, someone not breathing.
chaos.
Last night, unfortunately, evil happened.
Gunfire at an Old Town nightclub ends with 1 person dead and 5 others injured.
He was just the best. He was an entertainer. He was a family guy. He was, he was a great friend.
Tonight, the gunman is on the run, and police are calling him armed and dangerous. Cake News at 5 starts right now.
A community in shock tonight after a man kicked out of an Old Town club returns with a gun. Good evening, I'm Deb Ferris.
And I'm David Scott. Tonight, Preston Spencer, a father and husband, is dead, and the hunt is on for his killer. Police have identified him as Keyshawn Dawson.
Now live from the Cake Studios, this is Cake News on your side at 10.
Tonight, new video of the moment a man opened fire outside an Old Town nightclub, killing one and injuring 5 others.
Plus,
it's hard to fathom. Your body goes into shock and disbelief.
an exclusive interview with the uncle of the man who died, who says he was loved by everyone who knew him.
And the search for the man who pulled the trigger, and the search for answers as to why he started shooting. Cake News at 10 starts right now. And first tonight, that stunning video showing exactly what happened.
A neighboring business captured the moments when the shots were fired just after 12:30 this morning. Take a look. You see a group of people near the top right of the screen out on the sidewalk in front of Enigma Nightclub on Mosley Street when a man with no shirt fires 5 shots into the club. He then moves and fires 4 more. Here's another look with full sound.
You see people in cars immediately scattering from the scene. Wichita police say the man firing those shots is Keyshawn Dawson. They say this all started when Dawson was kicked out of the club earlier in the night, then returned with a gun and fired into the building. 34-year-old Preston Spencer was killed. 5 women were hurt. Detectives say they were able to identify Dawson thanks to all the surveillance technology in Old Town, like this video, which has now been turned over to Wichita police. And we have heard over and over from those who knew Preston Spencer that he was as good of a person that anyone could ever want to know. And one of those people saying that is his uncle. Cake's Eli Higgins is live in Old Town tonight with the exclusive interview. Eli.
Yeah, David, like you said, while doing the story today, there was no shortage of people saying how amazing he was. Hundreds of people saying how he touched their lives. Now take a look. This is where it happened. Right now, there are some candles lit and some flowers on the floor over there. And tonight, for the first time, his family is speaking out, saying it's an unimaginable loss.
Our last conversation with him last night was full of jokes and laughter, and that's just the way he was.
Keith Spencer says his nephew Preston Spencer's voice was one of the last things he heard Monday night before falling asleep. Just a few hours later, he got an unthinkable phone call.
It's hard to fathom. Your body goes into shock and disbelief, and you're just trying to process the words that are coming out of someone else's mouth. That's just unfathomable.
Preston was out with friends at Enigma Club and Lounge in downtown Wichita when he was shot and killed just moments before Keith says he was heading home.
That's part of the shock and disbelief is just trying to wrap your mind around how someone that is so well liked and loved and who cared about everybody could die at the hands of random violence like this.
Keith says Preston never knew a stranger and had no enemies. He was a family man, adored his wife and 2 children, and worked selflessly to make everyone's life around him better. He worked at 12 Restaurant and Bar for the last 5 years. Keith says while there's no easy way forward, the top priority is Preston's wife and kids.
Most important thing for us is making sure that his family is taking care of his wife and his 2 young kids. I mean, my great nephew's asking for his daddy. And how do you explain to somebody that's 5 years old that dad's not coming home?
And Keith says if you want to help the family, the best way you can do that right now is by donating, if you want, to their GoFundMe. Now, for a link to that page and to donate, just go to cake.com and click on this story. Live downtown, Eli Higgins, Cake News on your side.
And tonight, police are still searching for the suspected gunman in the case, Keyshawn Dawson, a 23-year-old with a lengthy criminal history.
Wichita police say the man in this security video firing 9 rounds into the Enigma nightclub is 23-year-old Deshaun Dawson. You see him open fire, then run from the scene. Dawson has a lengthy criminal history, convicted in juvenile court 3 different times, dating back to when he was just 16. Then just a few years later, when he turned 18, Dawson pleaded guilty to possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Then the same conviction a year later. In each case, court documents show Dawson violated his probation, leading to more charges. In this warrant for Dawson's arrest, it shows he often goes by the name Lil Blood and is involved in gang activity. And finally, just a couple of weeks ago, a judge issued another warrant for Dawson's arrest for failure to appear in court for his sentencing. Now he's wanted for murder.
And we contacted Dawson's mother tonight. She says she has no idea where her son is, and she declined to comment on the shooting at the nightclub.
And stay with Cake News for continuing coverage of this morning's fatal shooting in Old Town. Watch for updates on air and online at our website, cake.com.
Good morning, everybody. I don't know if you've been catching our updates here on Good Morning Kansas, but I wanted to share everything on my Facebook fan page as well of a deadly shooting that we've been sharing with you from Old Town, Wichita. The shooting taking place pretty early this morning. We've been out here on scene with officers trying to get information on what all had taken place, but I want to just give you a good idea of what all had transpired just hours ago. So if you've ever been down here to Old Town, this is a look at where we are. So we are at this club between 2nd Street's all the way down there, and then on the other end we have 3rd Street, and we're pretty close to Mosley. This is over at the Enigma Club and Lounge, and officers had just left this area, I would say maybe about 30 minutes ago or so. And this is what's left after that shooting. So it took place around 12:30 this morning. Officers rushing out here, trying to piece together everything as to what happened. But look at the front doors, and this is the doorway for both sides. So the doors and the windows, the glass shattered out. I would imagine, I wasn't here when we interviewed those officers earlier, but we know that the suspect at one point, believed to be a person who was a patron at the club, was kicked out and then had come back and then started shooting from the street over here. So I imagine that they shot through maybe these, and this is how the glass shattered, but it could have been from something else certainly too. Pretty scary thing to think about, certainly. But glass, all this debris left behind. There's the inside of the club where a lot of things are scattered on the floor. We know that overall 8 people were shot, including the victim who died. 2 people do have life-threatening injuries, and we know some other people do have serious injuries as well. So we're waiting right now at this point to get more information from police about the victims involved, and certainly the suspect, who as of this moment, we know that the person has not been arrested, but we're taking a look at arrest sheets this morning and all sorts of details to make sure that you all are informed on everything as best we can. But it's a story certainly we'll be tracking for you throughout the morning. So again, shooting over here, Old Town Wichita, just behind the Marriott, just north of there. Shooting taking place where 8 people were shot, 1 killed, and a lot more certainly questions that people have in regard to the investigation. We don't have a very specific description of the person who they believe is responsible. Once we have more details that could be useful, we'll share that information with you. And certainly if we find out more, like if there was an arrest or anything made in connection to the case, we'll share more with that as well. But certainly a big story. You'll probably see it on national headlines this morning, because we know that with everything that had happened out here, they had a big event that was planned, a Labor Day celebration, where people were coming to enjoy some time in Old Town, and ended up with a deadly shooting. So we'll provide updates, and you can see everything with the link in the story here on cake.com. If you happen to have information that could help with the case, you can call 911 or you can call Crime Stoppers. The number to reach Crime Stoppers is 316-267-2111. Again, I'll make sure that we have details with that in the description here on this post here on Facebook, as well as the article on cake.com. We'll continue to provide updates for you all throughout the day. Thanks for watching.